And so I'm taking this moment to say thank you, really. Thank you for the opportunity, voice and sense of self that art has given me, for the wonderful people, ideas and places it has connected me to, and the positive changes it has enabled me to make as we strive together for fair and vibrant, diverse and wondrous places of creativity. My work as a designer, community artist, creative producer and local politician has been shaped through activism. Or maybe sometimes vice versa, with social and environmental justice at its heart. Exploring, sharing and celebrating creativity, culture, stories, heritage and the natural environment. My work, like many of us here, nurtures a sense of place and identity, imagination and exploration, building relationships and vision, and empowering long-term positive change. But I think when we talk, more than anything, when we talk about building a place of creativity, that place starts with us, within ourselves. I'm going to read a few words that came together in collaboration with guests at Jimmy's, where I was working as artist in residence a few years ago. Jimmy's gives support and shelter to people experiencing homelessness, if you don't know. Art is not about passing time. It is about remembering who we are, celebrating our beings, creating beauty together, being seen and heard, and stimulating our creative selves to find new ways to look to our futures. It is about having fun, learning about each other, sharing experiences, valuing ourselves and others, and, when life feels really hard, to keep being wonderful. These are words I keep coming back to and which, more than ever during the pandemic, resonated with us all, I think, as we found creative ways to feed our minds, light our souls, connect to each other, hold us, and inspire hope and action for a better future. Yesterday, I was at Long Road Sixth Form College, really excited that 2 of the Year 4 foundation students are creating an outfit for me and to promote their amazing work, the course Sustainable Materials and Accessorising. How wonderful to be able to all continue to promote and support the routes into arts for young people. Creativity is being quashed and kicked out of the school curriculum, and our children's souls at the very time that we need to be nurturing the imagination and be able to see a way out of the mess that we are in. More than ever, we need to hold on to and nurture the inherent creativity that we all have at the very core of us, that is part of our being. When I was around 9 years old, my teacher, Mr. Scott, with his flares and sideburns, called me an artist. I believed him, and I never let go of it. It had a profound effect on me, and when I create with children, I always refer to us as artists working together. By the time I was 16, I was told to leave school as taking exams would be a waste of taxpayers' money, and I don't think I even knew that universities existed. But I went to art college at 16 and ended up in Cambridge to finish an HND in illustration at CCAT, Cambridge College of Arts and Technology. So my own route, like many creatives, was not an academic one, and nor did it start out with confidence or connections. The first time I visited an open studio, for example, I got as far as the beautiful open plan kitchen full of beautiful art and beautiful people who beamed loud hellos at me to invite me in. And I turned right around on my heels and walked straight back out. It felt so not something that I was part of at all. It was a long time before I went back to one. I often describe Cambridge as a city of high walls and high art. I'm not sure that there are hard to reach communities, but there is definitely hard to reach art and hard to reach culture. But as we know, the arts also break barriers. We find threads in resonance and we weave connections. More and more, I work in nature, in particular creating fantastical forests and artscaping with Cambridgeshire curiosity and imagination. working with children in the belief that we cannot save what we do not love. And as I create with communities amongst the trees, I think about artists and creativity being like the mycelia and signals that are sent through the roots of trees to connect and communicate to each other, as we nurture the creativity at the core of us and stimulate the deep-rooted connections to ourselves and to each other as the forest grows richer and stronger. After leaving college, I established myself as a designer and illustrator. And then in 1995, I left my work in Cambridge and spent a year on Rocky Street in Johannesburg. Nelson Mandela had just become president. It was an exciting time there. It was buzzing with creative energy. I was painting shop fronts and murals. You can see these photographs are pre-digital. Within the first couple of days there, I met Johannes. Here he is, he's the boy on the left in this photograph. He was living on the street. He became my friend and I grew to really love him. He and his friends would come and join me to paint and chat during the day. In the evening, I'd make rice and would sit in the market and would make clay beads together. We set up a stall where we could sell them. They got lots of abuse. I got lots of abuse. So it wasn't unusual that when sitting on a curb one evening, a man came to shout more abuse at them. It was along the lines of them being nothing, their lives being worthless. One of the boys waited until there was a break. He looked the man in the eye and he said, "I am not worthless. I made this today." And he opened his hand to reveal one of the beads. I had no idea that that is what we were doing. I thought we were just having fun and looking out for each other. These boys taught me the transformative power of creativity. It was an epiphany. It changed everything for me. They were my greatest teachers. All my community work has been because of those boys. And when I went back to South Africa to work as an artist with the Street Child World Cup a few years later and helped develop the United Nations Durban Declaration for the Rights of Street Children, that was for Johannes. So, when I came back to the UK in 1996, I knew that I wanted to change how I worked, and I joined Impact Community Theatre as an artist. We worked throughout Cambridgeshire, creating performances exploring social justice. And still, over 25 years later, all across the county, I am interwoven with the people that I first met through that theatre group, all of them doing incredible things. And it got me thinking about Ebenezer Howard, the town planner who first designed garden cities, where he designed the centre of a city to be a garden ringed with the civic and cultural complex, including the city hall, a concert hall, museum, theatre, library and hospital, and where the first thing to be built would be a community theatre. These images are by children at Shirley School, where I'm working with Cambridge Curiosity and Imagination artists. We've been seeing these same themes emerge as we explore the children's ideas about the Cambridge North development and the types of places that they would like to see. Spaces for nature, culture, and helping people have featured strongly, as have nuclear bunkers and protective shields for the planet. We've been talking about public spaces and what makes a public space. It's somewhere to play, gather, relax together. Some places are public, but they aren't public to everyone, said one 9-year-old. Maybe you can't get in because of your race or gender, or because you haven't got enough money. It doesn't seem fair, said another, that we cut down trees and nature to build things. It was there first and it can't fight back. Some places are public, but we know that we can't go there, said a young traveller. I'm worried that it won't be a place anymore, said another. What makes a place? I asked. More nature, he said. More bramble fields. Bramblefields is a small city council nature area near that school. We ran an arts project there with the children last year as part of an eco-capabilities research project. Findings of this study suggest that through arts in nature, children develop autonomy, body integrity, and safety, connections to people and nature, senses and imagination, mental and emotional well-being, spirituality and identity, and that it is a key element in promoting a lifelong sense of caring for others and the environment. In the least green areas, mortality rates are estimated to be 93% higher for deprived groups, compared to 43% in greener areas, suggesting that green space weakens the effect of deprivation on health. Despite this, socio-economically deprived areas have significantly less good quality public green space, meaning residents who are already at risk of poor health have the least opportunity to reap the health benefits of green space. I've been working with teenagers in the north of Cambridge who never play outside, who didn't even know that Cambridge has a river. And many residents from Abbey and North Cambridge don't access the centre of town, feeling like the city and its cultural offers just don't belong to them. The Observer recently ran an article proclaiming that museums and gallery trips don't improve GCSE results. My goodness, what have we become when we judge what is of value to our children by the impact it has on exam results? I was a runner-up in a Johnny Morris Animal Magic painting competition, probably around the same time that Mr. Scott, with his flares and sideburns, called me an artist. I had painted a duck-billed platypus. It was put on display along with dozens of other runner-up animal paintings in one of the London galleries. Dad took a detour en route to visit Grandad in Dagenham, and we went to the gallery to find my painting. Did it improve my GCSE results? I think we know it probably didn't. Did seeing my duck-billed platypus exhibited in a gallery in London, the only time I remember going to a gallery as a child, have a positive influence on my life? Yeah, well, I suspect it did. I've exhibited, curated, and ran workshops in many galleries and museums. They belong to us all, and they connect us to the past. They help us to shape our future. The Tree Charter, which I asked the City Council to commit to a couple of years ago, states that trees are also living museums of disappearing ways of life, that they are rooted in our lives, in our language, our culture, our literature, and our art. They hold our stories, traditions, and emotions. And whilst we live in a city which still has the greatest social divide, it is the role of artists, museums, and cultural venues to nurture these connections with creativity, compassion, shared heritage, community-led curation, and storytelling to truly represent and reflect the identity and values of our communities, while stimulating imagination and creative thinking in safe and welcoming spaces. Florence Ada Keynes is one of my heroes. She dedicated her life to campaigning for social reform. She was our first female city councillor, mayor, and one of the founders of the Museum of Cambridge, which opened in 1936. She not only shaped the course of history in our city, oh, can you go back one actually, please, Jake, is that okay? She not only shaped the course, thank you, of history in our city, but also recognised that telling ordinary people's stories connects and strengthens us, furthering democracy and equality through a greater sense of agency. Her son, the economist John Maynard Keynes, who also founded our Arts Theatre, is regarded as Britain's most influential economist. The difficulty lies not in the new ideas, he says, but in escaping the old ones, which ramify for those of us brought up, as most of us have been, into every corner of our minds. It's such a relevant quote today, We know we have to change, and we need the arts, nature, and creative places to nurture our imaginations, to help challenge our senses and perceptions, and to give us the space, connections, and vibrancy for new ideas and a better future to emerge.